So I'm glad you're on this training. I'm a big fan on the fundamentals of real estate. And there are a lot of creative things that you can do in real estate, but you got to have a strong foundation to what you're going to do. Um, and that's why we put this agent playbook together. And we really want to start off with being a professional. What does an agent do? What are they thinking? How should I get started? What sort of resources should I be relying on? What is step one to get things going? And some of these sessions that are coming up, this is for new, and this is also for relaunching agents too. Sometimes we get into real estate and things got busy, hectic. We got a lot of miscellaneous going on, and sometimes we get off track from that fundamental process. Being a professional agent, lead generation that fuels your business is session two, the transaction process. You may be able to hear some best practices that'll save you and your clients from a lot of headaches, and then making offers. If I'm going to make an offer on the house, should I be offering list price, below list price, days on market, checking comparables, the strategy of my clients, is it correct? And a number of other things like that. But starting off by preparing to be a professional. And really, before you're even beginning, um, I'm a big believer in developing that why and that purpose. Real estate's an entrepreneurial business. So defining why you're in business will help you stay determined with a purposeful mindset. And I'm going to be honest with you, why that matters, why a purposeful mindset matters, why knowing the true purpose of what you're doing this for. Um, Real estate is a tough business, and I'm sure you've heard that. I'm sure you might have already experienced that. It's a mentally challenging business, and most entrepreneurial-based businesses are, but there's a lot of upside at the same time. So it's a sales-based business, and rejection and problem solving comes with the territory. More people will tell you no than yes. And sometimes that's a difficult thing to embrace and to get over. And we have to realize that in a residential sales-based business, some of the basic sales fundamentals are going to be included, which is a percentage are going to be willing to work with you, but that's okay. You just find that percentage that say yes, there'll be plenty of rewarding experiences with them. And then problem solving. Transactions, sometimes they're not easy. And sometimes you're going to run into speed bumps or big mountains to climb, last minute delays, you name it. There is, I would say real estate is fraught with problems. But that's what keeps us relevant because if real estate was easy, if it was easy as going to Amazon and hitting the buy now button, and now you've got a 4.2, 2,400 square feet, two-car garage, huge yards, no repairs, right? Then we as agents really don't have much of an existence, do we? Well, they do need us. And I think that with real estate transactions, it's almost impossible at this point to replace us with any sort of AI technology because we're dealing with human beings, the home that they're going to live in with their family or they're going to invest in, and they need us as problem solvers. That was a big leap for me because in the first year, and I started off as a dual career agent for about the first 6, 7 months. Um, I really let those problems affect me. And I was just internalizing all these problems that were happening in these real estate transactions until I realized, it's not me. It's not the universe doesn't hate me. Real estate's not picking on me. No, I don't have the worst clients. No, I don't have the worst deals. That's just what real estate is. I am there to problem solve, help my clients, and navigate to the closing table. And as soon as I embraced that, the stress went away overnight. And that's why I share that with you now, because there could be some of you that are dealing with some of that stress right now. So you don't want to internalize it. You want to become detached from that stress, understanding that, hey, there's a process to solve just about everything. There's the right conversation to be able to solve this and have this move forward. All right, well, moving forward now. Independence requires self-discipline, and I know that that sounds pretty contrasting, doesn't it? Um, but you do need discipline of your time and activities, and that independence is earned by the work that you've put in order to create that free time. Um, and it's a people-oriented communication business. And that is a challenge for some because we may not have been in a business where we have had to have conversations with people in regards to buying or selling anything, or talking to a stranger who walks into an open house on a Saturday. And what do I say? And coming out of our shell and growing confident to have those conversations. So these are some of the biggest challenges I see with newer agents in the business or agents who've just had enough after a few years. And I think that if you really focus in on how can I work on these attributes and better understand them, the better chance I have of being successful. But look, I don't want to be all doom and gloom here, right? There are great rewards in real estate, and that's why we do this. It can have a great impact on your life and others as well. So you're becoming a business owner, and you really, the only boss you have is yourself. You decide when you start your day. You decide when you start or when you end your day. You decide if you're working on the weekend or off, right? You decide when you go on vacation time. And that leads to a lot of empowerment. So there is also great fulfillment in helping others. And I think that's a surprise to a lot in real estate because we got into it by independence of time, uncapped income. I hear people say, I just love houses, and I totally get that. But you have to learn how to love to help people. And when you do help them, that'll be one of the most fulfilling experiences that you're going to have. And you will always remember your clients if commission checks are gone and spent. And personal empowerment of who and what you wanted to become. I think each one of us got into real estate, went through real estate school, took the challenging test, maybe a couple of times, maybe a bunch of times, right? And then trying to tackle getting into real estate and learning a whole new entrepreneurial based business that it feels like a little avalanche of information and just trying to get business going. But why would we take on these challenges? There was probably something that you wanted to become. You wanted to become a type of person, or there was something that you felt that if I do real estate, I'm going to achieve this. And I've seen people personally and professionally grow in real estate, and it's real inspiring to see how confident some people have become in real estate. As I mentioned earlier, independence is really earned through discipline action. But what it does, it ultimately makes you better, right? You become routine oriented, you adopt good habits, and you do find that independence. There was one year in real estate, I went on vacation 4 times. In a previous walk of life, that would have never happened. I would have never gone on vacation 4 times. It just, financially and time wise, wouldn't have happened. And your income, you do control your income. It's not the market, it's not the interest rates, it's not the inventory. It's all you and your actions. How much energy you're putting into your business, and then your consistent action. So there is no ceiling in real estate. Your income is going to be a direct result of what you're doing. So let's move forward here a little bit. And this is important. And, um, it's really thinking about your why. Some of you may know it right off the top of your head. Some you may not have really developed this yet. And what I suggest is develop a why in the beginning. And then maybe 6 months, after a year, maybe even yearly, kind of revisit this because things can change over time and as our business develops. So I want you to think here for a moment, what is your why? I'll kind of give you an example of sometimes the why is a little bit more than what we think. An example would be, hey, I want to make a lot of money. Okay, great. You want to make a lot of money. What does it do? What good does it do? What will you do when you have this money? What sort of impact will it have? So a better example of why would be, hey, I want a greater income to provide my family the lifestyle and choices they deserve. What will the money do? So you want to ask yourself, okay, the purpose of real estate will achieve, um, what it can achieve may better help you discover your why, right? Does anybody have any sort of why that they wanted to share? I know people love it when I put them on a spot, but there may be some who are pretty motivated and know exactly what their why is. And in a supplement we provide, there's a few spaces where you can actually fill that out. So I really want you to think about that. And why? Because it's you, it's your story, it's the steps you're taking. There's nothing more important than that, right? So you deserve to put time into thinking of who you are, what you're becoming, and why you're doing this. What is the true purpose behind it? So I'm going to go over something that over time we've kind of developed an idea of, okay, well, what's a job blueprint of a real estate agent? What should I be doing? And I like to call it engaged, active, and productive. And what sort of blueprint can I follow? Let's talk about being engaged. And this is a big determining factor as to whether new agents become successful or if they don't. And a lot of it comes down to that engagement factor and not really leaning into what you need to do. So the first step with being engaged is having goals. Those who have yearly goals, targets, it's segmented into monthly, weekly, even daily activity. They just achieve more success faster. I see it all the time. Those who aren't really sure how much money they want to make. That's the number one problem. Why? Because real estate is a bit of a math formula. So if we understand what sort of income that you want, then we can find out, okay, well, typically you're going to have to sell this many homes at this average price point, and that means you're going to have to service this many clients or have these many appointments. So if we don't really have that end in mind of what your goal is, how do we get started on the process? Because it's the process that's going to help you win when you're doing it each day and weekly. So, if we're doing something daily and weekly, we need to make sure that we're doing enough activity to reach that outcome that we want. So, we want to segment it and chunk it down, I guess you can say. And then what I really suggest is always aim higher with your goals. I do hear some agents that say, hey, I want to sell one home a month. And that's great. So that means you're either selling one or you're selling none, right? Most often, if someone wants to sell one home a month, rarely does it turn into two homes. Why? Because once our minds reach that comfortable benchmark, we stop. Hey, I got something under contract. I have one home under contract right now. I have accomplished my goal. I'm going to stop and take the rest of the month off. And once we reach that goal, we typically pause the activities. That's why I suggest aim a little higher. If you want one home, shoot for two. If you want to, shoot for three. And it seems if you work in a little bit of a stretch on each segment of what you need to do in real estate, you're going to reach that level a little bit faster. Here's a simple example. My one thing this year, I want to make $100,000. Well, with average price points, maybe that takes about 24 homes, let's say. All right, about two per month. Well, now I need to segment that. Now, each month, what do I need to do? I need to have four in-person online appointments. You can have an appointment in person or online as this is happening right now so that I can sell two homes. So remember, you want to work in higher amounts to stretch your goal to make sure that you can achieve enough. Because if we wanted to sell two homes, we don't want to just meet two people, right? We want to meet four people, right? So we want to make sure that we're sitting down with four people in person or online and having a good real estate conversation in order to be on the path to sell two. Because not everyone you meet with will want to buy a home or will be qualified to be a buyer. So you want to make sure you're meeting with enough. Well, then now let's segment it down again. We know that our one thing is $100,000, 24 homes. The next segment is each month, 4 in-person appointments to sell 2 homes. Let me segment down to a week. Now I must meet one new person for some sort of needs analysis on if they want to sell their home or if they want to buy a home. A needs analysis would be really dialing in on their needs, their goals, their time frame, and under what sort of conditions would they need to buy or sell, and really coaching them through that experience. So with each week, I can segment that down each day too. Each day I need to lead generate, follow up, and ask for referrals to create that appointment. If I can create one appointment every week, new in person, I'm working at a really good pace. There are some agents where they want an appointment every single day. That's a great sort of mindset and goal to have. If you are going into each day of I need an appointment today, even if you didn't get one, well, guess what? Next day, the business plan is the same. I need to find a way to set an appointment today so I can meet someone tomorrow. So every day, you know exactly what you need to do. More on engaged and active and productive. Um, Go to as many trainings as possible. And I'm thankful that you're spending time on this one here. And hopefully you find some value to help you move forward a bit. Real estate is just vast. There is a lot to it. And there are some that are going to find that um, intimidating. And I'm sorry, we will get back to this display here. Looks like there we go. Um, some will find real estate a bit intimidating. And, I will admit there is quite a bit to it. There definitely is. But we can't really learn real estate in one training, right? Or one setting. Incrementally over time, you're going to learn it. So what you can do is work on your training, be consistent with that. Work on your growth, your personal growth, networking with other agents to learn more, get some new ideas, podcast, videos, reading or ebooks or audiobooks should be a staple in your weekly schedule. So you don't want to just go to a couple of trainings a month. What I would highly suggest is think of training as something every week you're attending, or in between the trainings, you're spending some time continuously building. Instead of driving around and listening to the radio, how can you spend a little more time with maybe an audiobook or what have you? There's little ways that you can work in certain things, whether you're working out or, if you're doing something else, you can, listen to a book or watch a video and just fill in all the in-between time as much as you can. You're going to start to hear a commonality in a lot of the training and the suggestions, but you're going to hear new ideas of things that you can try. Um, there is a list on the PDF as far as some books that I would recommend, some podcasts, some YouTube videos. Now, there are way more, but if I was starting off with a good foundational list, because, yep, there are some books that are pretty complicated, but let me start with these that are really going to give me a good foundation of what I can do, real applicable type of activities that I can start working into my business. And remember this too. You can't achieve significant personal and professional growth without also working on improving yourself. Your personal growth, this includes your emotional intelligence, communication skills, your resilience, your self-awareness. That's all going to affect how you navigate the challenges and excel. We are in a people-oriented business, so our communication skills are going to matter, our emotional intelligence, um, and really just what that is working through empathy to understand where someone else is in their life, what their goals are, and how we can communicate uh, properly to help service them. as a client. So here's the list. I'm not going to read everything off here, but this list here is really, it's focused on communication with others, seeing the investment side of real estate, true communication that has impact. How can you start your day and build better habits? The podcast and the videos are scripting great ideas on what other agents are doing on a daily, weekly basis in order to win, and really the mindset of high achievers. So, lastly here on being engaged, just a few other things that I really want you to focus on. And some of this is a bit of a challenge too, all right? Um, Understanding the contracts. And we do have a session where we're going to go over writing an offer and getting a little deeper into understanding the contracts. But what you can do is you can go to rainmls.com, find a standard purchase agreement and download it and get to reading it and starting to see some of the terms that are in there waiting for you. And that's something that if you have MLS access, you could even do today. And I would encourage you to do that. Um, get familiar with the MLS and some of the systems that do come with what you're paying for. You're paying for a quarterly service, and there's a lot there. There's an app that's good for you and your clients. There's market stats. There are tax records. There are automated values of homes. There's ways to create home value reports for your clients, and then obviously ways to search for all sorts of homes, whether it's residential, commercial, land, multifamily, duplexes, you name it. So getting into the MLS and creating simulated searches, just have a seat, sit down, open it up, find the residential search page and say, okay, if I was working with a client and they wanted to move to Norfolk and they want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, they want at least 1,500 square feet and a garage and a fenced in backyard, how would I create this search? And it's not going to be easy at first. Why? Because there's all sorts of stuff on the MLS to click, but really just get started one step at a time. The more you find things, the more things are really going to become second nature for you, but you got to get started. And I'll just give you a quick warning on that. I see far too many agents not open up the MLS, wait until a client wants to look at something that day or next day, and then an agent with lots of anxiety goes into the MLS and tries to find it. I am guilty of that, completely guilty. Really the first day I got licensed, I had some training. The first day that I was ready to take some leads, I got someone who wanted to look at a house, and I'm speaking to them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They want to go look within a couple of hours, and I barely knew how to log into the MLS. Thankfully, someone was there to help me out, but um, I could have prepared better, and that's where I share that with you. And you want to research ways to improve your sales skills. We are not selling people, we're not hustling, we're not taking advantage, we're not manipulating. The sales skills part of it is your marketing and prospecting, your conversations to create new client relationships and shadowing experienced agents. Are they going out a showing? Do they have a home inspection? Are they writing an offer? Are they making some phone calls? And how do you find these shadowing experiences? Sure, we have mentors in the office, but what I would suggest is just ask. Just ask for these opportunities. There's a lot of agents who are willing to help. So I wanted to give you a quick screenshot of the MLS site, Rain MLS. And I put this on the supplement. I think this is a great spot for you to go and begin. And there is a link under resources for new member resources. And you're going to find a number of things there. Just a few things in regards to setting up the MLS, finding forms, and a number of other things. But on that page, you're going to find the top classes for new members. And what they have on their list is exactly what I would suggest. Getting an overview of Matrix so you just know a little bit more about the MLS system. How you can improve your searches in Matrix, because there's some high level stuff in there that can create a lot of efficiency and a lot of secrets in there on how you can find things. A comparative market analysis. How do we price homes? There's a way to do it within a couple of minutes. They also go over forms and where do we find these contracts. digital signing, and a few other things as well. So I would highly suggest looking at Rain's training calendar. These are offered in person, mostly online, and I would take part in that. All right, so being engaged, wrapping up this part here. Um, I would challenge you be aware of the training calendar and events. Know where our training calendar is, paying attention to our social post, and then also posts that we have in our chat platforms, just so you don't miss anything. If you're here, that means you got it. You got the message. Good. Keep it up. We train anywhere from 2 to 4 times a week. And you always want to block off time for your knowledge. Why? You get more knowledge, you get more confidence. It's just going to get you into more action. Uh, Keep up with emails, chats, and posts. Don't forget that one business practice I did is I separated my business email. I had my business email, and still to this day, 10 years later, under one separate app. It kept it away from all the other solicitations and personal emails and you name it, so that I didn't miss anything important that was coming up through email. But I know there's a lot of communication in real estate. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming, but I would challenge you to stay really tuned in. And then also contribute to the culture. What is contributing to the culture? Be a joy to work with. How about that, right? Don't be afraid to engage in our chat or with other people. And if we're doing events, show up, participate, network with the people around you. You're going to find a lot of energy from that. All right, being active. So let's say I've worked on being engaged. Now I want to make that step where now I'm getting active on things. Okay. What am I doing on a regular basis? You certainly want to have a schedule and a routine. Whether you're full or part-time, you can have a schedule of regular activities that you're doing. Now, independence in real estate is something that we all love. We get into this business because I want to be my own boss. I'm a business owner and I call the shots on when I'm working. Sometimes they could be the biggest problem for agents, though. Why? Because they give themselves way too much time off, or they're not present in their business enough. And it's something where you want to have near daily activity in. If you're taking several days off, several weeks off, you're going to lose momentum. And there are a lot of agents who have difficulty with the independence because they were coming from a job where they were told when to be there and what to do. Now it's on you. We give you suggestions and blueprints, but it's really up to you to make sure that you're engaged and active enough. A lot of that comes from developing good habits. Those who have not developed good habits have a difficult time handling the independence. And if you're wondering, okay, why are there so many agents who don't sell homes versus those who do? A lot of it comes down to their habits and what are they doing on a regular basis or not doing. So let's talk a little bit about dollar productive activity, because there's a lot of miscellaneous things you can do. You can certainly Google, hey, what should I do in order to sell homes in real estate? You might get a lot of advice, a lot of information, but there are ones that are going to move the needle more than others. So dollar productive activities, which you want to focus on. The number one thing, lead generate, follow up, ask for referrals. Well, it sounds like three different things, but it's really not. It's all one commonality, which is communicating with people. Lead generation is creating new opportunities. Follow up is following up with those recent conversations to see if you can work towards some sort of meeting or provide more information, staying in touch. And then asking for referrals. That is prospecting for business. Someone may not want to directly buy or sell, but who do they know that they can pass on to you? So lead generation, follow up, and asking referrals is the number one activity in your business. We'll talk a little bit about marketing and prospecting, managing a database, setting new appointments, and staying up to date with your leads as well. So I wanted to get into a schedule and routine here. We're going to talk, briefly about full-time and then part-time. And this is on the supplement as well, an example. And it may look a bit simple, and that's by design. If the schedule is complicated, it's going to be too hard to develop a routine and habit. And agents, sometimes they're moving at 100 miles per hour all over the place, and the day is full of miscellaneous, and they think that they're winning and being productive, and they may not be because they're not necessarily in control of their time. So, what does a top producer schedule look like? Lead generation, follow up, and asking referrals, mostly in the morning when your schedule is controllable and when people are most likely reachable for 2 hours per day. Now, you may say 2 hours per day. I just worked in a job where I had 8 hour schedules. Well, guess what? 2 hours per day is enough when it comes to mental energy. You could be super productive in 2 hours. And if you did it for 8 hours a day, you'd get burnt out pretty quick. You put your time in, you put your 2 hours of lead generation follow up and asking for referrals, and then you can move on to what's next, which, if we look next on the schedule here of a top producer, the middle of the day, they're working on administrative stuff, they're working on their trainings, they're networking in the middle of the day, and then the appointments, good time to schedule in the afternoon. Why your clients are most likely going to be a little bit more available in the afternoon. If you don't have any appointments, use that time to follow up to see if you can create an appointment. Weekends, now you could get yourself weekends off, right? But if you need business, well, that may become a work day for you. So weekends are made for appointments and open houses. Why? Clients are available on weekends, open houses. That's when a lot of buyers expect to go look at something. Now, could you do an open house on a Thursday or Friday? You absolutely can. I did an open house on a Tuesday with a new listing that hit. So it's totally your choice. When is a good time to do an open house? Anytime's a good time to to do an open house. That's how I look at it. But your weekends really could be a winning time for you. Okay, well, what about a part-timer? And I know some, yeah, you've got to work another job. I understand there might be benefits attached. You can't just walk away from your career because maybe you love it, maybe you need the income. I was dual career when I started off, so I totally or understand. I couldn't necessarily just go dive into real estate, right? Needed a little bit of time for a transition. So part-timers can have a schedule and routine as well. What does that look like? I would suggest lead generation late in the afternoon, at least 3 days a week. And what I suggest is 1 hour per where you're active with people, right? So if you're lead generating 3 times a week, you're putting about 3 hours into it. So each time is about an hour. And that's when you're doing your lead generation, your follow up, and you're also asking referrals during that time. Now, I do suggest late afternoon because you may have a job that's early in the day, but according to your schedule, if you work in the afternoon or evening, your mornings are free, then I would suggest early in the day for that. Now, administrative stuff, later in the evening, there were times when I was writing contracts at 10 o'clock at night. That was the time when I could do my admin stuff, or early in the morning before the kids get up, before other things happen. Get up about an hour earlier on your real estate days, and could be a time to get your admin type stuff. And then use downtime for passive lead generation. So again, if you have those a few hours per week, 3 to 5 hours per week, where you're doing active talking to people, you can use some of that other time when people aren't answering phones to do the passive type stuff. CMAs that you can send out, comparative market analysis, whether it's sending a few to your neighborhood each week or to your sphere of influence or other homes that you're prospecting. Emails, there is a way through Gmail that we utilize where you can write an email and schedule it to send at a future time. So then that way people aren't saying, hey, why did my friend who happens to be an agent just send me an email at 11 o'clock at night, right? You can have it scheduled to send the next day. Now even text messages do that as well. Your post. It's never a bad time to post on social media. I know that there are times where they claim it's better, but again, when's the best time to post? When you can post. Because just because you posted it at 8:30 in the evening, people may not see it till the next day, or you can even schedule certain posts. And then pop buys. Pop-bys are a lead generation activity. We'll learn more about that in the lead generation session. It's kind of a secret weapon of agents where they are dropping off certain items. Sometimes it can be humorous or heartfelt, that are low cost and are a way of building referrals. Well, that could be done early in the morning. I wouldn't suggest doing a pop by at midnight at someone's house. They're going to see you on the Ring camera and wondering what's up. But it can be during passive time when you're dropping that off. And if you're a part-timer, lastly, weekends are high value opportunities. That is your go time. If you can sprinkle in just a couple of hours lead generation during the week, weekends, that's your time to absolutely own it. Have an open house or two or three open houses. There's no reason why you couldn't have one on a Saturday and a Sunday or two in the same day if you wanted to. And your weekends are really time for appointments. If you were going to have any consultations with new prospects, schedule it on the weekend so that you have more time to sit down and meet with them. So continuing to be active here, right? We want to be engaged. We want to be tuned into our business and our growth. We want to be active by being dollar productive. We want to lead generate, follow up, and ask for referrals. Where do I begin with these conversations if I'm supposed to lead generate, follow up, and ask for referrals? We always suggest the starter script or conversation is the Ford script: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. This is from How to Win Friends and Influence People. It is basically a starter script on small talk. Now, there are plenty of scripts. If you Google them, how do I ask for referrals in real estate? And they're going to be pretty salesy and they're going to be pretty uncomfortable for you. Now, if you're a go-getter and you want to use that script, you can. But sometimes calling up someone and saying, um, hey, Christina, it's good to talk to you. By the way, I want to let you know that I'm in real estate and I'm looking to help 12 families this year. So if you could pass along any referrals of anybody that you think may want to buy or sell, I would really love that. Now, you can have that conversation, and that's fine. But we don't want our sphere of influence to feel as though we're using them as a base for business, right? We want to be genuine in our conversations. It would be a little bit different if I said, hi, Christina, how are things? Great. I saw on Facebook that you just went to the Bahamas for a week. How was that? That was great. Did the family love it? Okay, if I was going to go to the Bahamas, what do you suggest I do or don't do? Oh, I should go to Atlantis. Oh, I shouldn't take this tour. I shouldn't take this airline. I love that advice. Christina will probably say, hey, what's going on with you? Well, things are good. Kids are good. And we're going here this weekend. I just started real estate a couple of months ago, really learning a lot. There's a lot to it, but I really look forward to helping some people. So it's really worked out so far. And you've done your job. The Ford script is all about connecting with people and planting seeds that you are there and available in a non-salesy way. And you want to learn how to work real estate and what's going on in your life, not just in your conversations, but then tactfully on social media. We're going to learn more about creating the client relationship. Here are some ideas. And then in our lead generation session that's next, what we're going to be working on and what you need to focus on, which is learning to have good conversations. Again, it's a communication business. And this isn't a supplement to this list. You want to be focused on clients' needs because it's not about you, it's about them and helping them accomplish their goal. If you are going to begin client searches, I would suggest with an in-office appointment. Online is a good medium for that if people don't want to come to the office, but something more visually based. You don't want to have a new client relationship built solely on text or something like that or email. You want to have it grow to a phone conversation, grow to at least an online or in-person appointment so that you can go over their needs. The client's needs are always more important than the sale. We're in the business of, yes, residential sales, But our number one thing is our fiduciary responsibility, right? Our integrity of how we serve people. We never want to put people in a position where they're buying the wrong house or selling in a way they should not sell their house or that could be financially detrimental to them or take advantage of them. I would encourage any buyers to be pre-qualified with a lender. You want to make sure they are looking at houses they can afford and they are happy with the monthly payment they would be paying for these houses that they want to go see. There are plenty of people who are not qualified for homes. You want to protect your time, and we don't want to have um, people leaving their home to be shown by people who aren't qualified. You want to assist the search and viewing homes. You want to be interactive with that. And then if you're listing, what do we do when we're selling a house? Well, we're helping them price it, preparing the home for pictures and showings. We want to negotiate offers and help them through the closing process. We want to create and submit offers for our clients, and we will go over the transaction process and how to make an offer in future sessions. And then you want to help your clients through inspections, contingencies, and reaching closing. And that is the transaction process. So it's more than just identifying their needs, putting together a good search, and showing homes and getting it under contract. We really roll up our sleeves from the time that is ratified, meaning full agreement on a purchase agreement, and getting that to settlement. So here's something else that is going to be, I would say, a bit of a learning curve. This does not necessarily come natural for a lot of agents. This is one of those sales skills that you have to learn, which is now having a marketing mindset and learning more about branding. We may never have had to do this before, right? But branding and marketing is simply, it's a practice of increasing awareness of a product or service. There's certain things that you use on a daily, weekly basis, or if you wanted to go buy a particular problem or a solving product, you have something that immediately comes to mind because marketing has uh, has educated you to remember that product when the moment comes up so that you'll utilize it. So that's why you'll see a lot of the same commercials over and over again because they're trying to burn into your mind that when you need a cell phone, you go here. When you need car insurance, you go here. You kind of have to be the same thing. Now, you can market and brand yourself, and you don't have to be as obnoxious as television commercials, right? But as an entrepreneur, you need to consistently build awareness of your brand, services, and abilities to help clients with your real estate needs. They're not going to seek you if they don't know you're in business. So your online presence is one of those things that's going to be key. And what a lot of buyers and sellers will do is if they interact with you, they may go internet or social snooping, right, to find out more about you. Or if they got a text message from you, they may look you up online to make sure that you're legitimate and not spam. So you want to spend time even in the beginning of your career, or if you're relaunching things, or maybe you've gotten busy and haven't had time to go back to these things, you definitely want to do it because it is absolutely fundamental, basic, and crucial for your marketing and prospecting. So there's plenty of social platforms, but Instagram and Facebook are the top two. Yes, there's TikTok, but TikTok I would consider kind of an optional thing that's completely up to you. But Facebook and Instagram, I would highly suggest having some sort of strong presence on one, if not both. Now, online presence, Google My Business. You can create a free Google business profile. We can always work with you on how to do that. People are going to Google you, and over time, your websites and other online presence will show up on the first page. You may get calls from SEO solicitors saying, "Hey, pay us money, and we're going to put you on the first page," right? You don't have to pay money. It's absolutely free if you have a presence on these. At First Class Real Estate, everybody has a website. That's a great place to start, right? Google My Business, creating that business profile. Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes.com. Do not sign up as a consumer. You want to register as a professional, industry professional or agent, make sure that you have a profile, make sure it has a picture, an updated bio, good contact info, be visible on these platforms. The next thing you want to do as far as being active, you want to consistently build a contact list. Where a CRM or a spreadsheet is a good place to start. We do offer Bold Trail, formerly known as KV Core, where you can add contacts in. If you added them to a spreadsheet, we can actually help you upload that into the system if you don't want to do a lot of data entry. We can even help you download contacts in your phone, get it onto a spreadsheet, and then put it into Bold Trail. So then you have hundreds of contacts in there without having to do a lot of typing. But before you tackle hundreds of contacts, start with about 25, 30 people that you know. Who needs to know that you're in real estate? Who could potentially use you or refer you to others? And also continuously build a contact list, which is who have you recently met that turned into a real estate conversation? And now this is somebody who is in my database. In lead generation, we go over more tactics to build a contact list. And did anyone engage on social media? They liked it, they loved it, they commented, maybe there was a DM. That is now in your contact list. So being active, what are we working on? We're setting new appointments. I can tell you that all activity lead generation is to create appointments. Why are we lead generating? Why are we following up? Why are we asking referrals? The number one reason is to have appointments. And having that a goal of having an appointment every day is big for your business. If not every day, at least once a week. Who can I meet? If you can meet one new person per week to have a good real estate conversation, you're going to be way beyond the average agent, well beyond the average agent. So a simple goal like that could be profound in your business. Everything we do is to create an appointment opportunity so then we can do that needs analysis and then service that client. And I would suggest staying up to date with your leads too, because you're going to meet a lot of people, people from your sphere of influence, that open house that you did, somebody from social media, and it can get out of control. Try not to commit it to memory. I see agents writing it on paper that's short-lived. You want to have something, whether it's a spreadsheet, a CRM, project management software like Trello, Asana, Monday.com, something. There's lots of free stuff. We provide a CRM for you, to client relationship management system, to help on keep that under control. And not all interactions bring immediate results. So follow-up is certainly going to be crucial. Learning to adopt the habit of following up routinely with people doesn't necessarily mean we're calling them every day, right? But we do want to have a system and a process to make sure that people aren't slipping through the cracks. So we're wrapping up here. We're getting towards the end in some of the future sessions, but we want to be engaged, we want to be active, and we want to be productive. Remember those dollar productive activities. What am I working on to make things happen? So I've done my lead generation, my follow-up, asking referrals. I've had appointments, otherwise known as consultations, to understand their needs and connect with people and let them know how I can help them as a professional. Well, what are we doing to be productive? We're writing offers and we're writing listings. And now that's when we are in business. You are not in business until you're writing an offer or you have a listing on the market. That's right. You are out of business. You could be lead generating, following up, and asking referrals to get an appointment. And that is the starter to getting in business. And you have your appointment, and maybe you got them pre-qualified by the lender. So now we can go look at houses in their given criteria. And that's great. I'm being active. But production is about getting things signed and getting things under contract and moving forward, running offers and listings. And now I'm in business. So ratifying contracts and servicing clients during the transaction process is a key part of being productive. That is our purpose. That's why they need us to help them through that process. And then closing homes and making it a great client experience. Remember what I said early on, that real estate is stressful. There are problems and it is an emotional experience, but you, as the competent professional, are going to guide them through. Future sessions, we talk about transactions, and you really want to be tuned in as to what that process looks like. And then afterward, you want to seek reviews for marketing. Reviews are great social proof of the hard work that you've done. And then you want to keep the relationship going. Um, Real estate sometimes can start off where strangers become new friends at an open house, but it really is a relationship oriented business. So we can keep that relationship going even after closing in order to get referral business. So lastly, what I wanted to mention here, as far as being a professional and just understanding that there is integrity to this business. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else that you work with is working with integrity. You may have some agents who maybe don't have the best business practices. You may have some clients who don't have the best business practices. But what's important is that you are a licensed professional. You earned that license and you want to keep it and you want to play the game right. Never choose dollars over the integrity of the business. So you got to remember that you're representing your client's best interest. It's always what's best for them. They need your representation. That's why you're there. And you have an active role in protecting your license and the brokerage. And that's why if you're running offers in the beginning, you really want to communicate with us so we can go over these page by page to make sure that these are correct and going through the transaction process. Because it is easy to do the wrong thing. And you don't want to get your clients in a bad situation nor yourself. Yes, you are in residential home sales, so you do have to understand the sales process, meaning creating a client relationship, communicating with them about the process, consulting them, getting them through the transaction process, and getting them to settlement. So you want to understand the sales process, and that's by spending more time with the information available. And you want to develop a passion for customer service. This is a people-oriented business, and the better experience you give, the better communication you have, the more business you will get, and you'll also get a lot of gratitude. And lastly, have a role in maintaining our culture. Um, you know, there are times when we're not having an easy day, and I totally understand that. There are times when other agents may do certain things that are frustrating. There may be times that our clients have really kind of pushed us to the end of our rope, but you want to maintain a professional mindset, understand that what you're hearing from somebody or what may have happened. You may not have all the details or full knowledge of that. I once heard seek first to understand, which basically means before you react, find out more information, which I think is a phenomenal sort of mindset. And it's real easy. And I still have to catch myself too. I'll hear something and I'll say, what? Get ready to write an email and I'll stop and I'll wait a second. Let me seek first to understand here. Let me find out more details of what's going on so I can understand, what's the real issue here. But, agents, when we collaborate and network with each other, it's a great moment for our culture because everything outside of our circle, right? There's a lot of challenging things out there, right? And real estate is certainly a challenging type of business to be in. But we really try to rely on each other for support as much as we can. And you can also have a role in that. So just remember some of the sessions that will be coming up. Lead generation is the fuel of your business is next. We're also going to go over the transaction process, and you'll really see your worth to people. And then also making offers. We're going to find a house. We're going to write an offer on this house and also go over the strategy so that you can get it under contract.